Alright, it's 5 a.m. in the morning. Of course, a.m. in the morning. Still not quite awake yet, and already I'm trying to pump out some content here, or at least recording some, as I'm watching our local news programming. Okay, now to get off of that, because well, they, I don't, I don't need any hassles from a lack of intelligence trying to tell me what I'm doing or not doing wrong. Okay, um, and so let's go ahead and go into a couple of topics here, I guess I could go ahead. What do we got here? Oh, I could go ahead and just focus on something like this, right? Um, okay, so right now they're showing our weather, and because of that, okay, this is kind of corny. So we've had all this wildfire smoke, right, flowing down from Canada. We've had a little bit of rain that we got. Nothing at all severe. Nowhere near. Okay, just some good rains, if you will. Well, this is the case if you see this over here. Um, we're going back to sunshine. In fact, so much so today that they're already putting out ultraviolet warnings from the sun to protect your skin because the UV levels are going to be so high. Huh. Well, what happened to all that freaking wildfire smoke? Because last I heard there was, what, something like 180, or there was 180 fires, and that's including Canadian wildfires, okay, not just those fires. And and I'm looking at my screen right now, and I'm going to go ahead and tap my screen because, well, it's gone blurry. There we go. Okay, so, well, of course, because of this clearing to our weather, yeah, I'll probably be doing more outside recordings. Yay. But that's good because the more that I'm outside, the less energy that I have to use inside. Okay, and we're going to go back because I brought up the factor of energy and power. All right, and I brought up the company that provides the power, at least to my apartment here, Consumers Energy. And what do I see this morning? But Consumers Energy wants a rate hike. They want us to pay more for the services that they cannot reliably provide. And they want more money. And thing is, according to our lovely Attorney General, I think it was her, um, stating, well, what are you doing, consumers? You haven't even spent the money from the last rate hike that you implemented. And they're wanting more money. See, this is this is something that people should really be screaming about. And why? Oh, now I don't know what that was, and if it even caught it, but that was to my lights. All right. Gee, as I'm talking about electricity, and we are hooked up to what is known as smart meters, digital readout smart meters, and all of a sudden my light bulb decides to glitch out. Yeah. And oh, okay, and something else. Uh, Something I've noticed. They're really trying to gear up to take more away from the private people, at least here in Michigan, because once again, now they're talking about more gun control, okay? All this talk about gun control is starting to come forth once again, trying to take people's protections and or sporting rights away from them through gun control. Now, think about this. Why don't they want people to have guns? Because the governments want to be in control of the fighting that occurs around the world. They want control. And this is being seen through these peace efforts, if you will, when it comes to war. Okay, because that is ramping up. War is coming. But what kind of a war will it be? Because they keep talking about a technological war. And of course we got robotics. Oh, and there's so much more that's going on out there in the realm of synthetics, all this artificialness. They want more and more and more. And of course, we're having food product issues. And of course, we're also having this outbreak of measles. Gee, it kind of sounds almost like a story in the Bible about a future apocalyptic time. I mean, right now they're talking about, welfare cuts, and other government programs to stop funding the private sector of common people. The governments just don't want anything to do with us anymore. No, it's all about them, and all this world control narratives. Yeah, hang tight. I'm gonna have some more coming. Okay, right now they're okay. Hold on. Okay, so what they're talking about now is the air quality alert here in Michigan, and if you have lung issues, respiratory issues, to stay indoors today because of, once again, factors of that wildfire smoke. But yet we're supposed to have a clearing so much to where we have a high level of ultraviolet radiation, to where they're telling you to protect your skin from the sun's rays. Well, it's got to fight its way through all that wildfire smoke, doesn't it? And we've seen the white out skies, all these false narratives. Oh, okay. And while we're looking at this wizard and dragon, okay, have you noticed the switch over of coloration to Donald Trump's MAGA hats? From the red hat to now the white hat? Now go back to the dragon prophecies. The red dragon and the white dragon. Just think about it. Just think about it. They keep showing us all the symbology, the symbolism behind all this stuff. There we go. Try to focus that again. Right in our faces. But so many people are still so asleep to what is happening, what is occurring, and what has been happening and occurring to set up what is coming. Okay, and as far as future tense events, that may or may not occur from recent or current actions, those lines drawn in the sand, if you will, that's going to lead into conflict. Well, now we have a ban against many countries over their peoples coming into this country. And if you look at those countries that are now being banned from their peoples coming into this country, you might understand just a little bit more. And no, I'm not coming forth with anything straightforward at this moment in time, because I got to keep real with my content and go with the flow of what comes to me, okay? And that is where my topics of so-called discussion comes from, or is derived. So yes, I will be talking more about prophecy in days to come, as well as so much more. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and jump into this because I'm going to include a link into this description of something that is kind of disturbing, okay? And this pertains to, well, I have shown you my hands. I've shown you, you see that M? Can you see the M in the palm of my hand? Well, there's a couple of M's there, alright? And as well as that, you know, when I put both my hands together, this line right here, the top line, when connected to this palm, those lines, and I've shown this in previous video, how they create the half moon / crescent moon, which of course is to have so-called meaning, okay? Well, this video kind of goes that much further into that, but when you examine the description of the video, and it comes from Brazil, and it's been highly I'll just say created through artificial intelligence, okay? AI generated. And no, I am none too thrilled to be sharing this. But it's just, you know, more of an example over information that's coming out. And what really gets me is if you watch this and you actually listen and even possibly read along because it's captioned, and no, not that well. It brings up a lot of the same words that I use and a lot of the topics that I focus upon, such as the weather and other things. And it's almost, and it is like it's one of those videos to where, well, if you see this video, or if this video comes up, it is meant for you to see. And this video seems to tie in a lot with my content, my thoughts, and gee. So, is it South America's artificial intelligence system that, I don't know, there's probably others out there in the same situation or circumstance as me, to where maybe AI is generating certain videos and putting them out there according to algorithms, so that, you know, in some form or another, you are coerced, possibly subliminally coerced into watching. And I just want to show this real quick, just to show the disturbance that I'm getting here, okay? And this is on the increase, and this is the typical trend that happens every morning as the so-called sun is rising, okay? All right, so these are my early morning thoughts so far for today. I'm going to go ahead and end it here, and I'm going to go ahead and get the uploading process going. Just out of curiosity as to what I'll be looking at as this day progresses. I'll leave that link in the description if you want to watch it. It doesn't really matter. But we'll be back, possibly, with fingers crossed anymore, with more content. We'll see you then, or you'll see me. Or, once again, maybe we'll just meet up at the same place. Alright, we're back. A couple other real quick items to mention that I'm going to splice in with the previous recording. And, okay, so just a little bit more of the lead into what is to come. We now have what is being denoted as a constructive conversation between Pope Leo and Putin. Okay? And of course, this is an American Pope that's, well, J.D. Vance, our Vice President, of course, I brought this up, how he visited Pope Francis just before he passed, and then jumped right on over there to hook up with Pope Leo. Okay? Now, I have a very good idea what type of conversation took place, or conversations have been taking place. Alright? But I'm not going to go into that because, well, something else. As far as this big, beautiful bill and the provisions within it in regards to what? Artificial intelligence. Okay? Well, now there's a little bit of a backlash against those provisions. Oh, we're going to be hearing so much more about this artificial intelligence and the warfare that's inevitable to come about because of this silliness of nothingness. Okay? And, okay, let's go into just a little bit of words, a little bit of wordplay. I've got something I want to show you that I wrote down last night. Okay? Over, well, quite a few years now, we have been seeing a lot of words that their meanings have been changing with the times, if you will. Alright? And of course, we have seen evidences of this being taken place because of changes to the spellings of names and of that of people, places, and things. Why do they keep changing the spelling of names to people, places, and things? Okay, once again, this is some notes that I took just before I crashed out last night, and I have not gotten much sleep at all. But this is kind of quinky dinky how this kind of ties in with, some of my talking points this morning already. And here's a little quote that I wrote down. It ain't no fun when the rabbit got gun. Okay, so let's look at a couple of words here real quick. Okay, we got hobos, bums, and tramps. These are words that were very, very common throughout my lifetime, and words that were used in many movies over many years, right? But over time, these words have changed. Hobos. Okay? Well, today we have sandwiches or pies that are known as hobos. Hobo pies. Okay? We have bums, which, yeah, your posterior, your rear, your behind, or your butt. We got tramps, loose women, sluts, whores. But now, these words have taken on one central meaning of the homeless. Okay? Just a loose example of what I am trying to convey unto you people to understand. This is more of the factors of chaos and confusion. Well, I don't like it when I'm not fully awake and my mind is foggy, and you know, I did have more of a point that I wanted to get to as far as words, but something just to keep in mind is that with all of today's narratives, to pay very close attention to words within those narratives that are being used. Because once again, we have a lot of double talk that's kicking off out there. And so you really have to discern what you are hearing and divide up what you are hearing in order to further discern due to the wording being used. If that makes any sense. Okay, so sitting here once again, watching our local media, and they just brought up a picture of the Mackinac Bridge with quite the haze that can be seen from the so-called wildfire smoke. And what's very interesting is they bring up the factor of there's been 180 wildfires and they've gotten control of like half of them, if not even more by now. But yet, once again, they are centralizing their focus on Canada and the smoke coming in from Canada, nowhere else. But they keep pushing this narrative, okay? And I have just started a new playlist to where I'm going through all of my past content and putting out and compiling together all of my animal videos that I've got out there, and it's called My Grr Animals, GRR Animals, or maybe there's 3 R's. I'm not sure. But as I began to compile these videos, I started to realize a couple of things. Do you know how many Canadian wildfires, or Canadian wildfire events, or wildfire events that I have reported on throughout the years of my content? Yeah, I was quite amazed by what I came across. Furthermore, I did not realize for how long that I have been putting out my own narrative against artificial intelligence. Man, I've been putting out my despise and contempt for that type of technology for much longer than I actually realized. Yeah. See, sometimes you have to go into the past in order
for certain realizations to come forth. Because once again, the past can denote the future. It can indicate what is to come forth in the future. And when I go back in my content for whatever reasons, there's always reasons and purposes for everything. And to have this revelation, if you will, of how far back certain topics that I bring to the table, and still going on about those same topics. There's a reason and purpose for it, don't you think? Okay, so this recording is going on 10 minutes in length. I am going to end it and call this good, as I am going to splice it to the previous recording and make one nice long morning recording or video. Let me know your thoughts. So on that, take care, and we'll meet up again in the near future. Thank you for watching. Have a great one.